How's it going, everybody? I know it's going good if you're a Mets fan like me, at least, because the boys keep on rolling. 7 straight victories, back-to-back series sweeps, and they're looking to do more here before the end of the season as they continue to nip at the heels of the Atlanta Braves, of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and of, yes, the San Diego Padres. And speaking of those Padres, we have some big news to get into as the Metsies have pried away one of their outfielders. So that's what we're going to deep dive in this video. And if you guys did not check out our previous video earlier today on all the latest Mets updates up until this point over the past hour, where I'm rushing to do this video for you guys right now, make sure you check it out on Kodai Senga, Mets assistant GM news, among others, and check out all of our post-game coverage that we do every single night here, the Mets #1 post-game show, not directly affiliated with the Mets themselves, live here every single night on YouTube or on X or wherever you get your audio podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Google, you name it, we got you covered in all those areas. And I'm excited to get into this one because the Mets have been riding high, as we know, but David Stearns is going to continue to be active and be selective with his options that he has right now and impacting the team for the better up until the end of the regular season at minimum. And the latest moves here are interesting that I'm excited to get into, folks. But before we break down all the details on not only the latest acquisition the Mets landed an outfielder from the San Diego Padres, but the corresponding moves and what is ahead for the Mets as they're going to begin their series against the Reds this Friday. Before I do, though, folks, come over with me with our awesome friends at BetUS, America's #1 sportsbook, because if you guys sign up today by using my code YouTube150, you will now get a 150% bonus on not your first, not your second, but your first 3 deposits. Yes, you heard that correctly, up to $2,000, folks. Amazing offer that we have here with BetUS for all your sports betting needs. And as you guys have been chiming in plenty with our nightly picks, I'm going to give you some picks, even though the Mets aren't playing tonight, and 2 teams that I don't want to see win tonight are sadly also 2 teams that I expect to see win tonight. The Atlanta Braves have Lopez on the bump, and he has been fantastic all season long, a reliever turned starter. That's why they're at a whopping -120 odds, which means that they're the money line favorite by -120. And the San Diego Padres, funny enough, at a -152. They rallied all the way back from being down 5 runs against Detroit and famously winning in extra, sadly. That's been the Padres' MO this season. And thankfully for the Mets, they have the tiebreaker against San Diego and against the Diamondbacks, and that could come up clutch by the season's end. But right now, if we push our bias aside, and as much as I do not want to see these teams win, I expect them to win in these respective matchups if we're going to have a rational point of view here. So I'm going to take the Padres money line at -152, and I'm going to pair that as a 2-leg parlay with the Atlanta Braves, and that 2-leg parlay is going to be 20. That's going to win you 25. If you do individual legs, that's going to be 10 to win 357 there on the Braves because of the big odds. That's going to be 10 to win 658 there if you do the Padres single by itself. Either way, folks, for all your sports betting needs, if you want a tail 2-leg parlay, this is the one I'm rolling with for this evening's games, and good luck to you all that get involved with our awesome friends at BetUS by checking them out today on their website and using that 150% bonus if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much, and now let's hop right back into the thick of this one because I got a lot to say, and I have a lot more to say than I initially thought actually heading into this video today, because earlier on we posted that update video that had to do with Kodai Senga, Mets assistant GM, and all the latest on Paul Blackburn, Tyler McGill potentially going to the bullpen, among others. And now we see some news earlier today by the Mets, which definitely took me by surprise. Didn't expect this whatsoever, and it is the following. Mets have optioned DJ Stewart. That was expected. That was 1,000% always happening by the time that JDM would be activated from the paternity list. JDM, now a new father like myself. Congratulations to JD and his entire family. Wishing them all well. Happy to see him back, and even though he didn't play his former team in the Boston Red Sox, it didn't matter because the Mets and Jesse Winker swept them without a problem. We see, yes, Jose, I'm going to butcher the last name, Azocar, I think I'm going with here, right? Hopefully I'm right. Padres fans, let me know how wrong I am in the comments down below. Has been claimed off waivers from the Padres and is optioned to AAA. The Mets also have transferred Sean Reed Foley to the 60-day IL, so let's dissect this all. One, DJ Teddy Bear Stewart, wish him well going back to AAA. He will hopefully stay there, which means the Mets don't need to call upon him again. And JD Martinez now, what really stands out is not only him being on the paternity list, but also having extra days rest. Hopefully he isn't too rusty coming off that in that Red Series, but it's against the Reds, and hopefully the Mets take care of business, at least winning 2 out of 3 in this weekend's matchup. Excited to see JDM back in there riding high with the boys as they are currently on a 7-game heater, which the past 3 games they didn't even need their guy for, and I'm not complaining there. When we look at the bullpen, Sean Reed-Foley, who was brilliant for the Mets this season, over 20 innings, his best season of work to date based on production. The K-to-walk ratio better in recent years. Strikeouts were high. Walk rate was still solid for sure in the sense of 4 to 5 range. And now Sean, who's been working tirelessly the past month plus to ramp up in AAA to get back with the Mets, the rehab has been shut down on the 60-day AL, which means he's going to get surgery. So Sean Reed-Foley's season is not only done, but it could be quite a while before we see him back on the mound with the Mets again. This is very unfortunate for Sean Reed-Foley, who has dealt with a plethora of injuries in his young career. I wish him well. Definitely am not happy to see this as a guy that was nails for the Mets in part, and those certain situations in high leverage and low leverage earlier on in the first half when everything was going wrong in Mets land. One of the few certainties at times was Sean Reed-Foley eating 1 or 2 innings for you. So I wish him well, and hopefully he will have a speedy recovery, whatever that surgery might be. But now let's get into the signing here on Jose, because the Mets acquired a very speedy outfielder. When I tell you this guy is a speed demon, we're looking at him the 91st percentile in all Major League Baseball. He steals bags at a very strong clip, and 214 career games across 3 seasons over the past 3 years with the Padres. Just a couple home runs, 21 RBIs, 53 runs scored. The 53 runs scored is what you're looking at here with someone like Azocar. He can play the defense perfectly fine there. The outfield has a lot of speed in doing so, but it's that base stealing threat is what is most appealing for David Stearns and the Mets here. Exactly why Pablo Reyes, who is basically a 30-year-old infielder that the Mets have as a backup option, stored on their bench to be utilized as a pinch runner. Reyes is a great pinch runner, but so is Azocar here. One could argue he's definitely even better based on these latest numbers, and he has recent experience with a playoff team in the San Diego Padres. So I like the fact that Stearns went out of his way to pry this guy when, look, at most, he's going to be a nice pinch running option for the Mets, maybe a bat that they call upon with the expanded roster there off the bench, and they want to defer to someone like him over, say, like a DJ Stewart, among others, or Pablo Reyes, because he does provide that speed. Has had some clutch hits over the past couple of years for the Padres. Not too many, but has had some for sure, and Padres fans know that. But at the core of it is just a nice defensive option for you that you can currently have stored in AAA. And then when you want to give him the call, he is going to be that pinch running phenom. This is going to be our Travis Jankowski. This is going to be our Terrence Gore, essentially. An absolute high-flying speed demon that can play all over the outfield. And at minimum for the Mets would be a guy that can come in late in ball games and help score a run. Maybe a game-winning or game-tying run in tight ball games against the Phillies, Braves, or even maybe the Brewers before the season is all said and done. Can never have enough outfield depth as what the Mets did. And this is the same Mets team that dropped Eddie Rosario a couple weeks ago because he hasn't been able to see a ball whatsoever. Even if it's a beach ball, he's not going to hit it. He's swinging and missing right through it. So the Mets want speed. They want versatility. They have that in Pablo Reyes on the infield front off the bench as a speed demon. Now they have that speed threat option in the outfield, which is something that they didn't actually have at the AAA level. They didn't have a Travis Jankowski down there. They did not have a Terrence Gore. They don't, when you look at their current outfield configuration, they have Drew Gilbert, who he loves, 6 home runs in his past 13 games for a top outfield prospect. But the Mets want to make sure that they don't rush kids up and also make sure that they have guys with MLB experience that know exactly what their very limited role will be. Should Azocar get the call by the Mets this season, it will be more than likely exactly what I just told each and every one of you. So I'm really curious how you Mets fans feel in the comments down below on this latest acquisition to pry away another Padre. This is the second Padre that's been pried away through waivers that we saw over the past couple of weeks for them. And honestly, it could end up being a thing that pays in dividends because at absolute bare minimum, what he can provide is at least the knowledge of the San Diego Padres and the way that they've been going about the season. Should the Mets and the Padres potentially match up at all in postseason play? We'll see what happens should the Mets hopefully get to the dance, and then we can worry about things from there. But right now, the Mets are continuing to add to this roster. They're continuing to bolster things, and they're continuing to make sure that they have as many options in various areas as possible. That way, when we do need a pinch running threat, we can defer to the Pablo Reyeses and now here, and yes, the Azocars of the world, if you don't want to consider your young guns in the minor leagues and Luis Angel Acuña, and then more with the bat there and Drew Gilbert. Now you have a flurry of options to choose from now up until the end of the season. But let's also make clear, everybody, knowing that the Mets acquired Azocar post-September 1st, he's not eligible to be on the playoff roster. Not that I thought for one second that he would be on the Mets playoff roster in a scenario where they are in the wild card by the season's end, but just want to reiterate that for anyone that are wondering, Wardy, is this a guy that can impact the Mets late in the season, potentially even in postseason play if he's called up? No, he cannot. It can only be for the rest of the regular season, and that is that. Thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on all the latest moves in Mets land, and stay tuned for consistent coverage on all things Mets, all in-season and off-season long here on the platform. Have a great one, folks, and shout out to BetUS once more for all your sports betting needs. Make sure to check them out again with that 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 by checking out their site that we showed a little bit earlier. Have a great one, folks, and as always, no matter what, let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.